Hello, my name is Hendree Milward. I'm representing the Tunxis Online Instructors Group, and I'm here talking with Susan Gentry, an English professor here at Tunxis Community College, about an experience she recently had taking an online course as a student. I was really excited to hear that you took an online class recently. I think it's one of the best exercises for online teachers to actually take an online class because you learn so much from the experience.
Yeah, and I did. I don't know, the timing wasn't good, but it was an opportunity that came up. It was in 1 month. It was how to write children's books, and I had several ideas for children's books in my head, and I haven't made any progress. So I thought, I'll sign up for this. At least I'll have a draft at the end of the month. And because I don't have time to go places and take classes.
Right.
So this was perfect. But it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. It was because I've taken the iTeach, I've prepared online, I've taught online. I thought, I have this. This will be easy for me. You know, the hardest thing, the hardest thing is will I remember that I have to do it?
Yeah.
And so that was my one perhaps barrier.
Well, let me also ask you, did you have, once you got into the course, at the very first day, let's say, did you have problems like figuring out where things were, or was it pretty clear in terms of that?
Well, yes and no. It was organized really well. I wish I could show you a picture of it. I couldn't get back on it because the class is over, but it was very linear.
Yeah.
This is the first week. Everything was under there. It was really nicely organized, so I knew where we were progressing to. But there were a couple little hiccups that confused me, and I didn't know how to navigate in the beginning. So, so the first thing I did was I went into every lesson.
Yeah.
Just to take a quick peek at how things, what the lay of the land.
Right.
And in the program that the online course was, it would tick it off that I had already done it.
Yeah.
When I really was just peeking around. And so that kind of threw me. Like,
I've got a green check mark, so I must have done it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine over the course of 5 weeks, a whole semester. But this was 4 weeks. And by week 2 and week 3, I was getting confused about what I had done and what I hadn't done.
Yes.
And, I only had 4 weeks. So part of that may have been my state of mind because I'm really busy. But part of it was, I accidentally went in and peeked, and now it's showing me that I've done these things.
Yeah.
There was text online, and it connected to text in a small book that we were reading
like a
physical book, chapter 2, and then the instructor would talk about it.
Yeah.
No videos on her part, so I didn't see her face.
Yeah. Was that a little disconcerting, or?
I would have liked to have imagined who I was working with. It would have been a little bit better if there was a picture of her, but that wasn't quite as disorienting, I think, for me.
Okay. Did you hear her voice?
I have a good imagination, so that works. I didn't hear her voice.
Okay, so it was just text.
It was just text, and that's an environment I'm comfortable with because I'm an English teacher, but I think if I was not that kind of a person, if I needed to have interaction or to hear or to see, it would have been nice to have like a little video introduction of who she was so I could kind of gauge. I didn't know if she'd be really critical, as we English people sometimes are, and so I was a little afraid of... I was surprised at how afraid I was, actually, of submitting drafts.
Yeah. One thing I always feel in my online classes is it's very tough for students to ask questions. I try to solicit questions as much as I can to let them know, hey, I'm not the biggest meanie in the world. Please give me the question. But did you, as a student, did you actually feel that kind of like, I don't know if I want to bother them with an email or?
Well, I didn't have an email to send her an email.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in this course. And I didn't know exactly, I couldn't figure out for a while where to send a question to or whether questions were acceptable. So luckily there was someone else in the class that was asking all kinds of questions.
Yeah.
And so I just did what he did, which was at the end of the lecture for each unit, there was an an opportunity to write in a discussion.
Yeah.
And that was when we were introducing ourselves the first week. So he asked a bunch of questions, and I said, oh, those are interesting questions. I have one myself, and I was able to do that. But it did take a while for him to ask the questions and then for me to say, oh, I know how to do this. The other people that were in the class, I never even knew who they were.
Yeah.
So
It was kind of like YouTube produced most of the questions and stuff.
that's right.
And the teacher would interact with you, right?
She would.
Okay.
She would answer our questions, but it was limited. So the whole other thing was submitting
Work.
drafts.
Yeah.
And the way this program worked, it didn't tell you that your submission was successful.
Like confirmed or something.
Nothing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So suddenly it was just gone, and I was like, oh, I don't know. Did I do that right?
Yeah.
Did it go to the right place? I don't have any indication. There was nothing on the screen that would tell me that the submission was successful.
Yeah.
And that was really disconcerting. But overall, I think the experience was interesting.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, like, so now after having that experience and kind of seeing where the points of friction were for you as a student, has it made you think about your online course and how you might tweak that? Or?
Yeah, it really has. So I teach World Lit at CCSU.
Okay.
And I use Blackboard as a supplemental piece in the class.
So it's
But
on ground, but
it's on ground, but they do submit work online. And then when we have snow days,
yeah.
which we had a lot of this semester,
Right.
then we would do a lesson online. And I realized that my students may have the same and maybe more intense feelings as I did going through that, because I don't think I did a good job, and I've done a good job preparing students for the environment. You know, in a classroom,
Yeah.
we come into the classroom and I have people sit in a circle, they introduce each other. It's far easier to interject humor in the
Yeah.
classroom.
And it's easier to like kind of like take the like if you see students are uncomfortable, you
Right.
pick up on that really quick.
Exactly. And if they don't get it, you
Yeah.
see the look of question in their eyes. And so it's that piece is missing online.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've been doing a good job of orienting them to the class. So I think, you know, I'm thinking about how to create an orientation.
Yeah.
You know, this is what is expected. This is what you do. This is where you go. This is how this happens. I mean, I have students who submit things online that do a great job, no problem. But there's always a handful of students who say, you know, they submit something online, but they submit it in the comments bar. So they copy and paste
Yeah.
into the comment thing. You know, that used to make me upset.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they just follow
Yeah.
directions?
I told you. Yeah.
Right. And I realize that they just don't understand the environment. And
Yeah.
so having had this experience of taking an online class has really kind of helped me see, from a student's point of view, how tough that can be. You know, especially they're submitting papers. They're not sure if they've done a good job.
The grade's riding on it.
The grade is riding on it,
Yeah.
20, 30% of their grade, and they have to meet a deadline, and they are so anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that process of being anxious, I think it's hard to negotiate the finer, for some of them anyway, the finer things of what buttons to push and how to upload
Yeah.
something.
I also wanted to go back to something you said earlier about one of the tricks for you. Now, you're obviously got these skills much more than, say, our kind of traditional college-age student, but it is tough to go into an online course and kind of make sure you do meet the deadlines and keep track of when work is due. What kind of adjustments did you make as the course went on to make sure you stayed up on everything in the course?
Oh, well, I have good student skills.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they've been developed over a long time.
I figured, but you were saying, I think you were
But at
saying.
18, 19, I did not have good student skills.
Yeah.
So let's put that in perspective.
Yeah.
So what I did now is I put it in my Google Calendar
Yeah.
that I needed to make sure that Everything was due on Sunday, which was good for me. The week was
Did
over.
it help? Did it help having it the same day every week?
Yes. Having the same deadline every week
Yeah.
made one less moving part for me. So that was great. And I put it in my Google Calendar. So I did some on Friday night, did some on Saturday,
Yeah.
got some feedback on it on Sunday, and then submitted it by midnight,
Yeah.
usually way before midnight. But having the same date and the same setup was crucial.
Yeah.
As an English teacher, I often have to talk to students about what the feedback means.
Yeah.
And I have to be really careful, and I do when I'm marking papers in real life,
Yeah.
to make sure that they understand what they're doing well as what they need to change.
Yeah.
So easy to focus on what students need to change because they have a lot of stuff that they need to change.
When you're developing, there's a
Right.
lot of work to do.
Yeah. But I don't necessarily do that for the online component of paper submission on Blackboard for my World Lit class or any other classes I have.
Yeah.
I just give them measured feedback, but I never go over what it all means,
Yeah.
right? So I don't write awk or
Yeah.
any of those proofreading marks. But it might be a good idea to have kind of a list of the things that I normally say, like a glossary or something.
Maybe with student examples to kind of show them
Yeah.
other instances where you've used that same kind of comment.
Right. So
Yeah.
I can go back into my class and pull out some examples and talk about anonymously and talk about what that kind of feedback means
Yeah.
and what the resulting revision, if there is one,
That's a
would be
great
like.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many little pieces that were disoriented. Overall, it was a great experience for me personally, but as an instructor, it was invaluable.
Yeah.
And so for 4 weeks, to take something that not only helped me do something creative that I wanted to do, but that informed my teaching,
Yeah. It's like
clarified points. Yeah.
double bonus.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you for
Talk to
inviting
me.
me. It's been fun.
It's been-